Morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. If you're new here, I'm Brian. This is the most pro Donald Trump radio show anywhere in the world. So if you love Trump, you're going to love this show. If you don't love Trump, you'll love the show too. And you may end up loving Trump after a couple of weeks of listening. So subscribe, click the notification bell. Here we go.
When you complete your trust with Attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino Italian Restaurant in Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Firm,
Here we go.
with offices throughout Broward, Palm Beach, and Dade County. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
I can hear the Trump train coming by.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-COCAINE-1. That's 1-888-COCAINE-1. And now, here's Steve.
All right, welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. That's right, this is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, broadcasting live from 6 until 9 a.m. weekday mornings, and midnight till 6 a.m. overnight, 7 nights a week. Monday through Friday, The Steve Kane Show is on the radio from midnight until 9 a.m. We broadcast on AM 1470, 95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, and 103.9 FM, as well as the iHeart radio app and the TuneIn app. On those apps, search for Aspire Station, call letters WWNN. Oh man, the Trump train just went by. There is a freight train track just across the street from our building, and the trains come by all the time, and every time a train comes by, of course, we call it the Trump train. People are wondering, what are you talking about, the Trump trains coming by? There is an actual train. Sometimes if you're watching on YouTube, later in the show, when the sun comes up and you can see out of the window, right now you can't see out of the window behind me because it's dark out, but when the sun is out, the window behind me in the studio, if you're watching on YouTube Live, Brian Craig on YouTube, you can see the Trump train coming by all the time. So welcome to the show. We've got a lot going on. Steve will be back today. So much happening. You know, the media and the left are in a complete meltdown because they know Donald Trump is winning. They know he is winning. They're in a complete meltdown. And what are they doing? They're doing what Democrats always do. They're lying and they're slandering about our great president. This isn't unique to President Trump, by the way. The left and the media lie and slander about every Republican. That's what they do. That's what they do. Because, you know, most of the people in the country are conservative. It only seems that they are not because of a lot of vote fraud, and the media give a lot of special attention to liberals that they really don't deserve. And the media this week are promoting, of course, it started on Sunday, it continued yesterday, and today there's another bombshell, the Trump-Putin-Russia narrative. They're bringing that. Didn't they spend $1 quadrillion investigating this with Mueller? There was no collusion, nothing. Right? So they had this fake news story over the weekend that the Russians were paying Taliban to take out U.S. service personnel, and Trump knew about it and did nothing. And of course, that's not true. Intelligence officials have said it is not true, that these were rumors, no corroboration, no, they were not credible. They never briefed the president or vice president because they were not credible. And then, boom, there's a new one today in the Daily Mail. Let's keep that Russia narrative going. Donald Trump's calls to world leaders, including Vladimir Putin, leaked. Oh, wow. Yeah, listen to this. This is the Daily Mail. President Donald Trump's private calls with Russian President Vladimir Putin sometimes have the tone of two guys in a steam bath. Hey, liberals over there, are they making... Is that homophobic? What do you mean? Oh, I spilled some coffee, but luckily it went on the carpet. You guys watching on YouTube get the real behind the scenes. Oh my goodness. I'll have to clean that up during the break. President Donald Trump's private calls with Russian President Vladimir Putin sometimes have the tone of two guys in a steam bath, according to a bombshell account that portrays Trump as bending over backward to win the strong man's approval. You know, this Russia narrative that they created out of the phony Russian dossier, it never goes away. And it's so interesting how the left are telling us what a threat Russia is. Back in 2012, when that snake Mitt Romney was running for president, he was talking about the threat of Russia, and the media and the left laughed. Where'd he get his foreign policy? The 1980s? Remember that? And they were laughing. Now all of a sudden, Putin and Russia, since Trump came down the escalator and won the election, is the greatest threat to all humanity. And, you know, that Russian dossier, just so you know, recap, then I'll get back to this latest slander about our great president, Donald Trump. The fake dossier, they never talk about the details of the dossier because the details of the dossier are so absurd. They know that if you hear them, if they're spoken aloud, it sounds so stupid. How could anyone spend millions upon millions, tens of millions of dollars investigating something so stupid? The Russia dossier, the fake Russia dossier, this is what it alleged. It alleged that President Trump traveled to Moscow. He rented the hotel room that Barack Obama slept in when he visited Moscow, and hired 2 Russian prostitutes to urinate in the bed that Obama slept on while the president, he wasn't yet the president, he was just the host of The Apprentice at this time, looked at them urinating on the bed while he pleasured himself, and that Vladimir Putin had a hidden camera, had a videotape of this, and controlled Donald Trump through this videotape blackmail. How stupid is that? First off, this urination. This is a big thing that comes out of Russia. Russia propaganda loves to talk about urinating. There was a lot of stories about Hitler having women urinate on him and urinate there and all this stuff. There's all kinds of weird things came out. The story's so absurd. You know, that's why they always say the dossier and don't talk about what's in it because it's so stupid. But anyway, back to the story here. Okay, so President Donald Trump's private calls with Russian President Vladimir Putin sometimes have the tone of 2 guys in a steam bath, according to a bombshell account that portrays Trump as bending over backward to win the strongman's approval. Putin just outplays Trump during their one-on-one interactions, according to a CNN report published Monday by legendary Watergate reporter Carl Bernstein. During those calls and others with foreign leaders, Trump regularly tries to tout his own wealth and success, according to this Bernstein report. What's Bernstein's source on this? Who talks to Bernstein? At the same time, with Putin, Trump, routinely characterizes his predecessors as imbeciles and weaklings. Well, I don't have to tap some Putin call with Trump to hear that. I just have to watch a Trump speech at one of his rallies. And by the way, he's right about that. Trump also told Theresa May she was weak. Called German leader Angela Merkel stupid to her face in a series of demeaning encounters with female leaders, the report claims. The revelations about the phone calls are contained in a deeply sourced, though thinly quoted account by legendary Watergate journalist Carl Bernstein. The sources describe how former Trump allies, including John Bolton, I smell John Bolton all over this, James Mattis, John Kelly, and Rex Tillerson, all the fired people, all the disgruntled fired people, became alarmed by Trump's calls and feared that the president was endangering national security. The conversations with Putin are part of a web of Trump calls to the leaders of Australia, Turkey, Canada, Australia, and Western European countries during his presidency that officials who have seen the call transcripts described as abominations. It's early. I'm spilling my coffee. I can't even say abominations. Oh my goodness. In the case of Russia, this is all in the Daily Mail. In the case of Russia, one source voiced fears that Trump was squandering the advantage that was hard-won in the Cold War by craving Putin's approval. Does anyone believe any of this? Bernstein said if the notes and transcripts of the calls were made public, even some of Trump's Republican allies in Congress would struggle to defend him. Well, release them, Carl Bernstein. Release the transcripts. If you know how to use a computer, you can put them up on the Facebook, right? Daniel Goldman, a House lawyer during the Trump impeachment inquiry, said officials had gone to the media with their concerns rather than through the proper channels after Trump attacked the whistleblower, who drew attention to the Ukraine scandal. No scandal, no scandal. The scandal was that they were releasing private phone conversations with the president. Listen, this Russia narrative business is all lies. It's all lies. Everyone knows this. What, can't they get a new line of slander? Why do they stick with the Russia narrative again? Mueller proved that there was no Russia collusion. I had two clips on this. This is Chuck Todd talking to John Bolton over the weekend about the fake story that Russia's intelligence agency was paying Taliban to murder U.S. soldiers.
Let me ask you this: Do you think that part of that the president is afraid to make Putin mad because maybe Putin did help him win the election and he doesn't want to make him mad for 2020?
This was Sunday. This was day before yesterday. This wasn't 4 years ago or 3 years ago or 2 years ago. They had the Mueller investigation prove there was no Russia collusion, but Chuck Todd's still going with the narrative that Putin helped Trump win. And then there was Biden over the weekend.
President Trump, the commander-in-chief of American troops serving in the dangerous theater of war, has known about this for months, according to the Times, and done worse than nothing. Not only has he failed to sanction or impose any kind of consequences on Russia for this egregious violation of international law, Donald Trump has continued his embarrassing campaign of deference and debasing himself before Vladimir Putin.
And it goes on. My goodness. Get a new slander. Get a new lie. Get a new smear. They're really dead. I thought he was ahead in the polls. Why are they rehashing all of these debunked stories? And I love all these news stories that are not sourced. They don't have any. They've had two major stories on Trump and Russia. The Taliban intelligence agency and now this. Not one named source in any of these stories. Why not? Not even the disgruntled exes like Bolton and the other ones will come forward with anything. Why? Because it's not true. It's not true. Our number is toll free from anywhere. 1-888-GO-CANE. 1-888-465-2631. Are you prepared for hurricane season? I know I am. Are you? Are you sure? Really, are you sure? What are you going to do? If you see a hurricane on Channel 7 coming down Hurricane Alley, are you going to feel safe and secure that your home, that your property, that your condo, that your business is properly protected with hurricane coverage? Call Debbie at I Will Advisors. Have her review your policy. She'll do this at no charge. Make sure that you have the hurricane coverage that you need and the coverage you want. Make sure that everything you have that you want covered in case a hurricane strikes is covered. I had major damage a few years back. I had two 50-foot ficus trees in my backyard. They both came down. Luckily, they fell on my neighbor's house and not mine. But they caused a lot of damage. Even though they fell on the neighbor's house, they caused a lot of damage. I had no fear. You know why? Because I have very good hurricane coverage on my home because I talk to Debbie at I Will Advisors and they review my plan. And when you call her, go through things. Is this covered? Is that covered? She'll let you know. It costs you nothing. Also, she'll review your policy to make sure that you are not paying too much. Once a hurricane hits, it is too late. I cannot tell you how many times after a hurricane people told me, oh man, my back porch was destroyed and ripped off, and wasn't covered. Or the water came in and my deductible was so high it was like not even having insurance. There's people run into all kinds of problems. Don't let that be you. It is hurricane season. And I got to tell you, 2020, we haven't had a lot of good luck in 2020. You know, and the weather is so strange and weird. It's hot as heck. They got this Sahara dust. We've got over 100 degrees heat index. It's not been a good year. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors. Now, if you have a condo, a single family home, If you have a commercial property, she can help you with all of these. And by the way, no matter where you are in the state of Florida, Debbie from I Will Advisors can help you. This is her number, 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. Call right now and leave a message. They will call you back during business hours. If you're an overnight listener, call in the middle of the night, leave a message. Debbie and her team will call you back during the day. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. Debbie and I Will Advisors listed at SteveKaneShow.com. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, Brian, it's Mike and Boca.
Hey, Mike and Boca. How you doing?
Good. I think I'm gonna start to speak Russian now.
Not a bad idea. They're taking over.
I accidentally put Fox News on a couple of times yesterday. The whole day up until broadcast, they were talking about that Russian narrative about the Taliban getting paid from the Russians and all this.
Oh yeah, total lies, total lies.
It was the they talked about it. I was like, this is disgusting. This is all they have. And then finally, I think Martha said that, we just got word that the president finally got free. I'm like, are you kidding?
And by the way, the briefing was that it was not credible, it didn't happen, it's not true. That was what the briefing was. They're acting as if he was briefed on it and it was true. It was not true.
No, none of it was true. When I first read it, I'm like, oh, here we go again. And when you said it earlier about the phone call, I'm like, it's the Russian narrative is in full effect because they have nothing left.
Yeah, now they got phone calls. Yeah. Now, this thing with the Russians paying the Taliban to kill Americans, as soon as I heard that, I knew it was false. That's an act of war. Why would Russia do that?
Russia's the least of our worries. China's our main worry, not Russia.
My main worry is the Democrat Party. Not. I'm not worried about China. Trump will handle China. I'm not worried about China. China's under control. We've got Trump running the country.
Yeah, as far as domestic terrorism, yeah.
The biggest. I mean, look at what's going on with this COVID stuff, right? You know, have you noticed this narrative? With the exception of California, all the blue states are, what are they? Gummy bears and gumdrop dreams, and all the Republican states is COVID-19 crisis.
They're trying to do that here too now. I just heard that Sarasota wants to shut down for 30 days. I'm like, that's a mistake.
Well, do you know how many people have died from COVID-19 in the state of Florida? A state of over 21 million. Do you know how many?
3,400.
That's correct. 3,400. Do you know how many have died in the state of New York?
Probably 5-6 times that.
No, many more than that. 31,000. So over 30,000. So about 9 times as many people have died in New York than in Florida. I mean, that tells me that Ron DeSantis knows exactly what he is doing, and he's highly skilled, and he's a great governor.
He's coming out the last 3 days. He's putting his foot down. He's like, we're not going back. We're going forward.
Well, listen, the reason that numbers are going up is because everyone in Florida is getting tested. I've been tested, and we're encouraging people at any lab test now of Boca and Coral Springs to get tested both for coronavirus and the antibodies. It's a good thing to know, and we have such a great governor. Everything is going so well in Florida. The more people that are tested, the more positive tests. But I don't hear them talking about the number of deaths. That's very low, very low.
Yeah, it's very low, and I heard that Dr. Drew said the other day that...
Dr. who?
Dr. Drew.
Oh, Dr. Drew. Okay.
Yeah, not Dr. Who, no. Dr. Drew said in this age category, anyone under the age of 50, the average, after 4 days of having it, 80% of the people are fine.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. If I get it, I get it. I'm tired of hearing about it. It's like, already, come on.
Well, I think there's a lot of coronavirus fatigue. I think people are tired of hearing about it, and the local news where I always went to get real news and an escape from this Washington cable news poison that's on. Every story is about coronavirus in the local news.
Yeah, every 5 minutes in the local news, I only watch any news. I watch OAN and that's some other one. That's it.
Yeah.
Talk about every 5 minutes on my phone. Oh, the latest numbers is they've got it so like every 15 minutes my phone goes off. WPTV tells me, oh, we've got new numbers, new numbers.
Well, turn off your notifications. Turn off your notifications. I have all my notifications on my phone turned off. All of them. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Mike and Boca, I appreciate the call. Oh, man. Yeah, I know. So, this fake Russian narrative, that I don't know why they keep going back to that. Anyone have any, why do they keep going back to the Russian narrative? That must be, liberals must really love that one. It must really jazz up liberals because they keep going back to that, right? I don't really know why they keep going back to the Russian. You would think after Mueller cleared Trump. I mean, Mueller completely cleared Trump, and he did it twice, right? He released the report cleared him, the Mueller report. Then he testified to Congress, and he cleared him again, testifying to Congress. No Russia collusion. Why do you think they continue to go back to the Russia narrative of Putin having control over Trump? I'm not sure why they keep going back to that. It seems like they keep going back to the same old, well, I don't really know exactly why they keep going back to that one, but they do. They do. And, liberals will believe it. Conservatives will not. But this is what they don't understand. Some of this the other day on the show. What the media don't understand, what the liberals don't understand, if all of these things they say about President Trump were true, we'd still support him and vote for him. Nothing, because we've got a bigger picture here, right? And President Trump is doing so much good in the long term. I was very happy. The president, he tweeted something. I wish he would have gone a little further with it. The president tweeted yesterday. He was talking about all the fake polls that are in the news that have Biden double-digit leads and all this. And he says he is polling very well and is very far ahead in his internal polling. And that tweet, I didn't see that tweet discussed all day on any of the cable news channels. They love to talk about Trump's tweets, but they didn't talk about that one. And, the internal polls are, I tell you this, anytime we talk about polls, I always tell you that the polls that we see are all fake polls. The polls that the candidates do and the parties do that we don't see, they call them internal polls, and those are the ones that are scientifically accurate. So President Trump, I would like him to release his internal polls. I don't know why he does. Maybe it gives too much data to the left as to what's really going on and where, but I would love for him to do what is never done, release the internal polls so that we can see how far ahead President Trump really is. All right, let's take our break and we'll be right back. All right, my name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be right back.
And I'm sitting here with my good friend and my attorney, Barry Siegel of the Siegel Law Group. Barry, you offer a service called elder law. And since I'm getting up there in years, I'd like to find out exactly what that is and when and if I need it.
Sure, Steve. Elder law,
Oh, my goodness.
think of it as asset protection. Now, as we age and get into our retirement years, the number one concern or threat to our assets is the cost of long-term care. Care either at home, in an assisted living facility, or in a nursing home can be very, very expensive. And it can eat away at your assets. It can even deplete your assets to nothing. Imagine if you lose all your assets, you have to go into a facility and your spouse at home has nothing left. Or you may end up not having any assets left to leave to your loved ones. So with elder law, we are able to look at different government benefits that may be available to you or your spouse, such as Medicaid or veteran benefits. And even if you don't think that you're eligible for these benefits, you'd be surprised. That's what elder law attorneys do, is we help people who may not be eligible at this point become eligible so that they can protect their assets for themselves, their spouse, and their loved ones.
Well, it sounds like a really great idea. I suggest you call my attorney, Barry Siegel, and he will be glad to set up an appointment and explain everything to you in even more detail. His number, toll free, 1-855-FLA-3782.
Steve Kane Show.
That you heard it on the Steve Kane Show.
This is Brian Craig. I've been telling you about the great deals and incredible customer service at Friendly Tire on both new
Welcome,
tires
everyone.
and-
If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Click the notification bell. If you are subscribed, or check. Make sure you're subscribed, all right? And make sure you have the notification check, too. A lot of people message me. They're like, I don't get your notifications. And they go and check. They're not subscribed.
All right, Antonio. Hey, I'm glad we could save you and your family lots of money on tires and Friendly Tire.
Oh, no doubt, man. Thanks so much, man.
Do what Antonio did. Stop into Friendly Tire and find incredible deals on both new and used tires. Give Friendly Mike a call right now. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. And Mike will give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, welcome back. You're on the radio. Good morning.
This is Mike.
Hey.
You're right about them circling back to the original lie, you know, the Democrats. We know what they're trying to do with this, trying to get him out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they circle back to the original lie. And the original lie is the dossier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Trump with the Russian hookers urinating on the bed in Moscow that Obama slept in. How absurd is that? Does it get more ridiculous than that? That's the dossier. That's what it says.
And here's the deal. Originally, who's the original guy to release the dossier?
Well, the first person that I know that actually possessed it was John McCain.
That's right.
And he gave it to the FBI.
Right, and he is another never Trumper.
No doubt.
You know, and that comes down to the fact that Trump won and he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't come up with new lies. They can't come up with fresh stuff, fresh material. You know.
Yeah.
When comedians get on the stage, they have to come up every so often. They have to come up with fresh material.
Yeah.
This is not only old material; it's bad material.
You know, I'll give you another one. This retweet of the video where the guy yelled "white power" that Trump deleted. Okay. You know, so what? He didn't hear what the guy said. He saw the video. It was people in the villages supporting him, so he retweeted it. He didn't listen to the video. Yeah, how many times have you retweeted something and you didn't read the article beyond the headline, or there was some audio, you didn't watch the whole audio? This happens all day, all the time with people. And this whole, come on. You know, does anyone really believe that President Trump tweeted that because the guy in the golf cart said white power?
Probably not. I mean,
come on.
When you were on
his daughter is a Jew. Jared Kushner is a Jew. He's got Jewish grandchildren. Come on, what kind of white supremacist is that?
Right, what kind of white supremacist is that? I mean, it's laughable that they think he's a white supremacist.
Well, they got to think he's all these evil things. They got to convince themselves.
Right, I mean, again, it's so sad, but they're lying to themselves about this stuff. And I mean, the Democrats generally are, fancy themselves good liars, but they can't. Fresh material, good liar.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill Clinton, I did not have sexual relation with that woman.
Miss Lewinsky. Oh, big lie.
Oh, it was a big lie, but and he ended up getting caught.
You know, and I'll tell you, when Bill Clinton came out and said that to the American people, I did not have sex with that woman, Ms. Lewinsky, I believed him. And the reason I believed Bill Clinton is I thought, you know, Bill Clinton, scummy guy, but he's a very smart man. And I just couldn't believe that he would go in front of the American people and lie with such confidence and anger that these things were being told about him. I actually believed him when he said that. I know a lot of people say, I didn't believe him. I did. I think more people did that will admit it. We found out he was a liar.
Right, and that's the thing now. These Democrats I mean, we know what the goal is. The goal is to start up impeachment proceedings again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Within the next few weeks, because, you know, we're starting to get into the crux of...
Well, he may break a record. He may be the president impeached more than any other. But thankfully, impeachment, you know, with this mail-in, I'm not confident we're going to take back the House because they're doing this mail-in vote scam, you know, and this mail-in vote scam will affect the House of Representatives. I don't worry about the presidency, but it'll affect the House of Representatives. So they may maintain the control of the House, and he may get impeached 3 more times. I don't know.
What do they think is going to happen when it gets to the Senate again? Now,
same thing.
Will this vote scam affect the Senate?
Yeah. I don't think so, because the mail-in vote racket is really being pushed in liberal states that have Democrat representation already at that level. You know, but a lot of states like California, you know, they have a Democrat governor and senators, but there are Republican House seats, and those could be affected by the mail-in voting. But now I don't think it'll affect the Senate. No, because it's being done in Democrat states that have Democrat senators already.
Right, and that's the thing. Think about it. There were especially in places like California, there were a number of seats that probably should have went Republican.
Eligible to vote, where U.S. citizens really existed and were alive. I think the Democrats would maybe lose a quarter of their seats easily just based on that, if not more. You know, especially out in California. In California, there could be a major Republican sweep of House seats in California if the elections were only of those who were alive and legally eligible to vote.
Right, and the other thing is, you know, you've got these districts that these House seats, that these 31 House seats or whatever it is that were in Trump districts or Republican leading districts that were won, some of them in special elections by Democrats that ended up voting straight down the line Democrat, even though they ran as a centrist or on Republican ideals. You know?
Yeah, that's right. All right, Mike in Louisiana, thanks for the call. Always something interesting to contribute to the program. Yeah, so this the red state, blue state, COVID-19 divide. Everything is good in the Democrat states, everything bad in Texas and in Florida. You know, we have this great governor in Florida, Ron DeSantis. Since he announced he was running, I told you, Ron DeSantis is being groomed by the President of the United States to be he's doing such a great job. And, you know, I really hate you, Ron DeSantis. You're too perfect, right? This guy, he's governor, he was in Congress, he's built, if you ever, you know, he's a workout fanatic. He's built like He-Man. He was a JAG lawyer. This guy, he's Ivy League educated. He even played in the Little League World Series. Can you imagine? You're too perfect, DeSantis. But they're out there trying to do damage, vice president, and go on to be president after that. So they're out there trying to tarnish his reputation. Now, the brother of the New York governor, Fredo, went on the attack on Ron DeSantis. All right, just switch the Wi-Fi so everybody refresh. And, you know, there's a big push by the left to make Chris Cuomo presidential nomination material. And I must tell you, when he did his first couple of press conferences during the COVID crisis in the beginning, I thought, oh, he'll be the next Democrat nominee after this election, right? He very well could be the next Democrat president of the United States. And then, Governor Cuomo had this nursing home crisis. And Janice Dean of Fox News, she's been tweeting a lot about this, this nursing home crisis. But there's a big effort now to rehabilitate Governor Cuomo. Refresh the feed, everyone. I just changed the Wi-Fi connection. And to do this, they're attacking our great governor, Ron DeSantis. So he sends his brother out there, Fredo, who got the coronavirus himself, Chris Cuomo. And he, this is, let me see here. Yeah. Okay, here's Fredo last night on CNN talking about Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
Your profession who waxed poetically for weeks and weeks about how Florida was going to be just like New York. Wait 2 weeks, Florida's going to be next. Just like Italy, wait 2 weeks. Well, hell, we're 8 weeks away from that, and it hasn't happened.
What now? Not going to hear him here. You won't see him here. Why? Because he's got nothing to say. When he had a chance to speak, he spoke too soon. He did too little, and now his state is suffering too much.
Okay, now I'm in Florida, and I must tell you, we are not suffering. Now, I know Democrats that run Broward County and Fort Lauderdale and Palm Beach County are trying to make us suffer and wear masks and shut down businesses and fine people down in Dade County and all this stuff. Florida has had 3,400 deaths. Now, every death is sad. Please don't misunderstand me. Florida has had 3,400 deaths from COVID. New York has had 31,000. 8-9 times as many. So which governor's done a great job, done a better job? And this is a state with over 20 million people in it, Florida. This is a huge state with a huge population. And not only that, we have the oldest population in the country. New York, 31,000 lost. Florida, 3,400. Which governor would you want governing your state? I say Ron DeSantis. He's done a great job, and he continues to do a wonderful job. But what they're thinking, this rehabilitation that's going on with Cuomo. A lot of people say that it's happening because they're thinking about him being a replacement in the Democratic convention in August for Biden. I don't think so. Trump is so popular, he doesn't want to run against Trump. He doesn't want to run against an incumbent. But Andrew Cuomo does believe he is going to be the president, and he's got a chance. He could very well be the next Democrat president after Trump. If a Democrat wins the election after Trump's second term, it very well could be Governor Cuomo. God help us, he's incompetent, and he's arrogant as a son of a gun, holding court with his press conferences every day. I don't think that's happening. I think that he's the brother of the primetime guy at CNN. I think the national liberal media are based out of New York, and they're friends with him, and they're trying to rehabilitate him for the next election. And because they want to blame Trump for corona mismanagement, and every time they do that, they go to, the people, Republicans point, rightly so, to the incompetence of Governor Cuomo. So they're trying to rehabilitate him for that reason. But give me a break. 31,000 dead in New York, 3,400 in Florida. And we have the oldest population. We have a population older than New York. Even though most of our elderly are probably from New York, we still have the largest, the oldest population in all of the other states. So, wow. I mean, it's just with the left hate Republicans so much in the media. I tell you, this is why One American News is so important. It really is. We need alternative news sources that put out the real news. Oh, man. Our number, toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE-1. Ace Hardware Deerfield, Beach Ace Hardware, I finished a big project Sunday at my house, and I have been redoing the entire inside of my home, building up and up and up and up with more difficult projects each and every time with the help of Ace Hardware, Deerfield, and Beach Ace Hardware. And now listen, there's lots of Ace Hardwares out there, but only 2 advertising on the Steve Kane Show. That's Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware, both listed at SteveKaneShow.com. If you go to my Instagram, my latest project was my bedroom. My bedroom, frankly, was a disaster. And I redid my entire bedroom, did some work inside my closet, fixed my closet doors, fixed problems with the drywall throughout the entire room, and then, of course, painted it, all with products that I purchased from Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware. And, you know, every time I go to Ace Hardware Deerfield or Beach Ace Hardware, I go in, I pick up what I need for the project. I always ask for help, You should too. They love to help you at Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware. When I get home, I have everything I need for that project from beginning to end. I never have to go back out. And I tell you this, every time I talk about this, because this is a big pet peeve with me, I go to Home Depot or Lowe's, the people are annoyed. It's like, oh, you're not a contractor? What do you know? What do you think? You know, it's like if I'm not a contractor, I shouldn't even be in there. And then I get home and I got to go back 3, 4, 5 times. Sometimes it'll be in the evening, I'm not done, I gotta go back the next day or even the day after. Not with Ace Hardware Deerfield, not with Beach Ace Hardware. You will leave with everything you need for that project from beginning to end. It's amazing. And if you go to my Instagram, you'll see a couple of photographs of my bedroom, the master bedroom. I know you're not supposed to call it that anymore, but I don't know what else to call it. And it looks amazing. My bedroom absolutely looks amazing. And I did it, all with things from Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware. Now, both locations, addresses and phone numbers are listed at SteveKaneShow.com. Deerfield Ace Hardware is just south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of US 1 Federal Highway. Beach Ace Hardware is located at 232 Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea. Both listed at SteveKaneShow.com. And when you stop in, make sure that you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Radio Show. We'll be right back.
Science behind the aging process is exploding. We have come to a point where we can take steps to significantly improve the health and function of our cells. Healthy cells means healthy tissue, means healthy organs, means a healthy body. And healthy bodies do better and live longer. That's right, folks, I said it. Live longer. Life expectancy is increasing in this country, and it is not a coincidence. With simple, safe, and effective therapies such as peptides, we can significantly improve the function and health of your cells, and therefore we are improving your health from the ground up. Sleep better, lose weight, build muscle, have energy, have sex, be in a good mood. If feeling good and looking good sounds good to you, call me, Dr. Mitchell Matez at the Boca Raton Center for Age Management at 561-953-5490. That's 561-953-5490, or visit our website at hormonetherapybocaraton.com.
You're stuck in your home and the dog days of summer are coming. It's already happening on the hot days in the late afternoon and early evenings. Your air conditioner is running more and more and may even run constantly, struggling to keep your home cool and hold the temperature that you have it set.
Welcome, everyone. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Click that notification bell. We're here live every morning, 6 to 9 a.m., Monday through Friday. I do live streams randomly all the time. I upload my podcast to the channel as well. If you're already subscribed, make sure you are subscribed and you have the notification bell clicked too. Oh, Kathy loves the bedroom. It looks awesome. Go to my Instagram, Brian Craig Show on Instagram, and you'll see the picture of my bedroom.
At 954-939-1500. That's 954-939-1500. CutMyKilowatts.com. Put your house in the shade today.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Oh, yes, my Instagram, Brian Craig Show on Instagram. I was telling people before the break, go to my Instagram, Brian Craig Show. Look at my master bedroom, at the renovation that I did. It looks spectacular. everything I used in there from Ace Hardware. And by the way, people think I buy everything. The prices are so low at Ace Hardware. I don't mind, believe me. Great prices. All right, Richie the bus driver.
Yeah, good morning. You know, there's so much to say and not that much time to say it.
We're here till 9.
Yeah, well, here's the deal, okay? The reporting constantly on President Trump, okay? And if you just go to YouTube and look at how they all reacted the night he was elected, and how they were laughing prior that they calling him a fool that would never get elected.
Oh yeah.
You can understand why 3.5 years of constant attacks, and that's all you get is 24/7. I got your question, and you want to know something? When you look at who he's running against, have you heard much about this incompetent?
You know, they got a poll out now that says 30% of people believe he has dementia, and my only 30%? You know what I mean?
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, only 30%.
He's so confused when he speaks, and he's fumbling, and it's an embarrassment, and they haven't reported. The people that are going after Trump have let this guy have a free pass, and that just tells you how.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to tell you something. There's another thing that gets someone to go through my list. There's a black lady that's down in Fort Lauderdale that was at one of those Black Lives Matters.
Yeah.
Demanding an apology from the police department and the mayor. Now let me tell you this. She came down from Delray Beach. She drove 27 miles. That they say was peaceful, but they have it on tape, where they threw a damn, what do you call it, smoke grenade or
I love this show.
Grenade at that cops, when the cops opened up with the rubber bullet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You apologize to this girl. She's got a lot of calls and answers.
Well, there's a reason. There's a reason why she wants an apology. Why do you think she really wants the apology?
Well, I think they all want the police to get down and kiss their...
No. An apology is an admission of wrongdoing, and that goes a long way in the civil settlement. That's like winning the lottery. Getting hit by a rubber bullet, then you get the apology to you directly. Boy, that's ka-ching. I mean, that's the big jackpot. That's, right now, it's like a Fantasy 5 level, you know. If you get the apology, you're up on a very good, solid Saturday Night Lotto drawing type jackpot.
For me, she would get got. I'll tell you the truth, nothing for me, because she was right in the middle of a disgusting situation there. And now I'm going to throw something else at you. People have called me a racist.
Yes, they have.
And you have defended me, and you have defended me. Well, what is a racist or white supremacist?
Is a racist a white supremacist? It can be. I think a white supremacist would be someone who thinks that white people are superior to non-white people. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can't be a white supremacist if you're not a racist. Oh, yeah.
I saw a thing last night. I saw the governor of South Dakota, and they're trying to destroy Mount Rushmore with President Washington, President Lincoln, President Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson, and Teddy Roosevelt. They want to destroy it, right? And so the governor of South Dakota is having a 4th of July there.
Yeah.
Democratic DNC. This is not from CNN. This is from the DNC. They're saying it's going to be a white supremacist celebration.
You know what I know, honoring that. You know what I'm very surprised about? They spend all this time on Mount Rushmore instead of Stone Mountain, Georgia. And the Stone Mountain, Georgia, which I've been to, it's an amazing, I've never been to Mount Rushmore, but the generals that are carved on the side of Stone Mountain, much larger than Mount Rushmore, which is out in the middle of nowhere in South Dakota where no one goes. And there's a big theme park there right next to Stone Mountain, Georgia, and it's all Confederate generals. And Atlanta, Georgia, the birthplace of Martin Luther King, has a large African-American population. And the Klan in the 20s and in the 60s used to have huge rallies at Stone. I'm surprised they don't target Stone Mountain, Georgia, with all the Confederate generals. And why do you think they mess around with Mount Rushmore that's out in the middle of nowhere? Yeah, who are the generals, by the way, on Stone Mountain? Robert E. Lee is one. Who are the other generals on Stone Mountain? If anyone knows, give me a call. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Another one that I got to throw at you. Last night, Tucker, I'm sure you have it on tape. The Republican Indiana Senator Bronson, I believe his name is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't see Tucker, though.
Oh, my God. It's on YouTube.
Well, tell me what happened. Just tell me.
Here's the deal. He had to go on Tucker's show because Tucker attacked him for making it easier to sue police. He's got a bill. And Tucker just reams him out. He looks like a fool. He sounded like a fool.
Now, maybe I'll watch it on YouTube. You're not telling the story very well. All right, Rich, appreciate the call. You know, there was a statue that was defaced of George Washington. I saw online yesterday. They covered it in red paint. What a disgrace that's going on here. Now, in the next hour, I'm going to play for you an interview with the lawyer from St. Louis that came out of his mansion with the, what was that he was holding? Was that an AR-15, an M16, and what was that the guy in St. Louis was holding? That rifle when they came out. His wife, when she was waving that pistol around, I don't know. She's not very good. The husband in St. Louis should keep the pistol out of his wife's hands unless it's really necessary, because the way she was holding that gun and handling it was not, Jack Posobiec had a very funny tweet, though, about the couple. He said the guy he had an extra mag, but he didn't put his shoes on, which I thought was interesting. It was an AR-15. Okay, he had an AR-15. Well, he gave an interview, which I'm going to play for you after the top of the hour, and it's pretty interesting. He talks about the threat that he felt that he and his wife were facing, and I think it was a pretty serious threat. So in the next hour, I'll play that for you. I think you'll find it very, very interesting. The interview with the husband from the St. Louis couple that came out of their mansion with guns over the weekend, and that's pretty scary. I am a gun owner, and I own quite a few guns. I'm not going to tell you how many and what they are. The one I talk about, though, is a 38. I have a 38 for personal protection and the reason I talk about that is we had a gun store sponsor that I purchased the gun from, and it was part of the commercial. But the other ones I don't really talk about too much. And luckily, I've never had to use my weapon or really felt a need to have to grab it. That Democrat couple in St. Louis, though, they were under threat, and God only knows what would have happened if they wouldn't have come out and stood their ground at their home. And I love how they call them peaceful protesters. These peaceful protesters ripped down the gate of the gated community and then walked over the gate and started marching on the community. So yeah, that doesn't look like peaceful demonstrators to me. And could you imagine if you had a mob coming down your street? Would it be like pretty scary stuff? Pretty scary stuff. Luckily, no one was hurt. Thankfully, no one was hurt. That's the thing with gun owners. Just having it usually, in most every instance, is enough protection and all the protection you need. You never really usually have to use them. Thankfully, so. So I'll play coming up the interview with the husband in St. Louis and some other things as well. Also coming up, when we're not on the air, our voicemail is on. And you can leave us voicemails. And if they're good, we will play them on the air. Years ago, we used to do this, and it was a great segment we used to do once or twice a week with our voicemails. And I've tried to bring it back a few times, and we really haven't done that. I got a couple of calls from someone who was calling about 2:30 in the morning. The best calls come in like after midnight, right? The overnights, that's when the best calls come in. But I'm going to play a couple calls from a listener that between 2 and 2:30 in the morning they called in. They called several times. I'm only going to play 2 of the calls they've made. Let me see if I can tell you what time they called here. I got it here. 2:17 a.m., 2:15 a.m., 2:13, and here's another 12:35 a.m. Oh my goodness, they're on a tear. So we'll play some of our interesting hate calls when we get back as well. Listen, do you have coronavirus, COVID-19? Do you know if you have it or not? Any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs offer coronavirus testing. That's right, they do. Not only do they have coronavirus testing, they'll also test for the antibodies. Find out if you have coronavirus. Find out if you have the antibodies. Find out if your kids, if your spouse, if your family have the antibodies or have coronavirus. Find out if your employees have been exposed to coronavirus with the antibody test. Find out if they have coronavirus. Call any lab test now of Boca. Call any lab test now of Coral Springs. They offer both coronavirus testing and the antibody test. Now listen, you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. You don't have to wait around. In and out in 15 minutes or less. I know, I've seen some of these lines, like down at the stadium where the Dolphins play. People wait for hours. And by the way, they don't get the antibody test either. And they're waiting in line for hours. In and out in 15 minutes or less. You can get tested for both, the antibodies and coronavirus. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University Drive in Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. Give them a call, 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca is located in the Sandalfoot Plaza where the Western Beef is, on the east side of State Road 7, 441, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough. Their number, 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Both locations are listed at SteveKaneShow.com if you missed the phone number or address. But remember this, there are lots of Any Lab Test Nows, only 2 advertising on the Steve Kane Show. And that is Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. We'll be right back.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Brian Craig. I've been telling you about the great deals and incredible customer service at Friendly Tire on both new tires and used tires. One of our listeners, Antonio, went to Friendly Tire and called to share with us his experience of buying used tires.
Welcome everyone, good morning.
Margate.
Good morning, you're on the radio.
Hey, yes, Brian, I want to give you a quick testimony about the tire place up in Margate, Friendly Tire. Friendly Tire is everything you said it would be, man. I went up there and got me some used tires, and when I went there, man, he was very courteous. My whole family's going brown, man. Everything you said it was going to be, man. I appreciate you for that, man, and Mike's a great guy, man.
Well, what's your name?
Antonio.
All right, Antonio. Hey, I'm glad we could save you and your family lots of money on tires at Friendly Tire.
Oh, no doubt, man. Thanks so much, man.
Do what Antonio did. Stop into Friendly Tire and find incredible deals on both new and used tires. Give Friendly Mike a call right now. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. And Mike will give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate.
This is Steve Kane for attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel. And one of the most important things about sponsors is integrity. And you have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach for my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1997. And, you know, Barry says every 3 years at least you got to... I called Barry's office because I had a question. I let the secretary know. I said, look, I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different. And I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now, you know, most people would just blow you off, right? You know almost immediately...
Thank you. Oh, WKRP. I love WKRP.
Barry himself told me. I asked my questions and so on, and the answer...
Yeah, I just ordered on Sunday a Safe Ferris shirt. I was watching... My wife and I watched Ferris Bueller Luther's Day off.
Integrity.
So I ordered a Safe Ferris shirt.
And all of you
I ordered a One American News shirt too. It hasn't come yet.
They all have that you can.
People ask me all the time, why do you wear T-shirts every day? Because I'm in Florida and it's hot as hell. That's why.
1-855-FLA-3782.
All right, coming back.
That's 1-855 toll free FLA-3782. Tell them Steve sent you.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show.
That's a good question. I don't remember now, Neil. It might have been from One American News.
Cocaine 1. That's 1-888-COCAINE 1. And now, here's Steve.
All right, hour number 2 has begun. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Welcome back. So much happening. If you've just tuned in, shame on you. This show starts live at 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, so you should be right there. All right, this St. Louis couple, amazing, coming out of their mansion armed. I'm told the husband had an AR-15 and the wife had a .380. That .380 looked like one of those old cigarette lighters that I used to remember those. The wife really needs to get some training. She was, I would not want to be around her with that. But the husband, he came out barefoot and defended his homestead. He gave an interview. I'm going to play for you now. He gave an interview to the local news, and I knew when I saw them come out that they were Democrats because it's St. Louis. St. Louis, Ferguson. Remember, Ferguson is a suburb of the St. Louis area. It's a Democrat town. And apparently, their personal injury attorneys, man, I should have gone to law school and gotten into personal injury work. Did you see that house? My goodness. It looked like a French estate. But they're dealing with a lot now. The prosecutors up there, district attorneys are talking about investigating them. They're calling the protesters nonviolent. He gave an interview, the husband that came out of his home, out of his mansion with a gun, and talked about what happened and what he and his wife were feeling when this happened. So let's play. This is the husband in St. Louis that came out in his polo shirt, his slacks, barefoot with an AR-15, standing his ground. This is his interview. Local news in St. Louis.
Somebody forced the gate, and I stood up and announced that this is private property, go back. I can't remember in detail anymore. I went inside, I got a rifle, and because as soon as I said this is private property, those words enraged the crowd. Absolute horde came through the now smashed down gate, coming right at the house. I mean, my east patio was 40 feet from Portland Place Drive, and these people were right up in my face. Scared to death.
Now, okay, so I know you've seen the aerial photographs. This is it's a luxury area with very wealthy people. They have a massive gate, and the protesters, they pulled the gate down and then stormed into the community.
And then I stood up there. The only thing we said is this is private property. Go back. Private property. Leave now. At that point, everybody got enraged. There were people wearing body armor. One person pulled out some loaded pistol magazines and clicked them together.
Well, I mean, think about this. They're wearing body armor and they're showing magazines. If that was your street, what would you do? How would you feel? There's no police around. There should be. There's no police around. What would you do?
We were next. We were threatened with our lives, threatened with a house being burned down, my office building being burned down, even our dog's life being threatened. It was about as bad as it can get. And it was, I really thought it was storming the Bastille, that he would be dead and the house would be burned, and there was nothing we could do about it. It was a huge and frightening crowd, and they broke in the gate and coming at us.
There have been some reports on Twitter and people who say they were there that says they're saying that the gate was already broken.
Yeah, that is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. The gate was not broken. The gate was broken physically in half. Our trustees on Portland Place came out later in the night and chained it all up with an automotive tow chain, it looks like. But no, you can talk to the trustees on Portland Place that the gate was not broken in half and laying on the ground 1 second before they came in and stormed the place.
Were the protesters on your private property at any point?
Everything inside the Portland Place is private property. There's nothing public in Portland Place. Being inside that gate is like being in my living room.
Okay, see, you know, what they're trying to say is that the streets are public, so the roads in the community are public and they can march. No, these are private roads. Every bit, these are not public roads. These are private roads they were marching on. After they tore down the gate, and I imagine the gate, I didn't see the gate, okay? And when I see the houses, though, you know this is a huge iron gate. And I don't know how they must have tied it onto some type of vehicle and ripped it off the hinges.
There's no public anything in Portland Place. It is all private property. And you got to appreciate that if there are 200 or 300 people, I don't know how many there were, we were told that 500 people showed up at the Light of Cruis's house, which is not on our street, as you know. But how many of them came through Portland Place, I don't know. But it was a big crowd, and they were aggressive, wearing body armor, and screaming at us and threatening to harm us and how they were going to be living in our house after they killed us.
Wow. They were yelling, "We're going to live in your house after we kill you." They're wearing body armor. They've got ammo magazines clicking together. And the media were calling them peaceful protesters all day long yesterday. Doesn't sound very peaceful to me.
And what has happened since last night and those images uploaded online?
Well, I've had to turn the phones off in the office. I had to come over here last night and have the office boarded up because we're getting threats against the building and everybody. It is interesting to me that the very people that are asking the mayor to resign for doxing people have now put all of my information all over the web, everywhere in the world. Is there some hypocrisy there? You know?
Wow. You know, keep in mind, this guy's a Democrat in St. Louis. It's pretty scary what he's going through. Goes on. Again, this is an interview with the husband that came out of his home in St. Louis with the rifle over the weekend after the protesters broke down the gate of his community, threatened him, threatened his wife, said they were going to kill them and then live in their house, clicking ammo magazines together.
When you see the images online of you and your...
And I'll tell you, what shows me how fearful this guy was, I mean, he was scared to death. This isn't just some crazed good old boy. I mean, he was terrified. I can tell how scared he was, and I didn't realize this until the Jack Posobiec tweet pointed this out. He didn't just have his rifle, he brought an extra magazine, and he still didn't put his shoes on. He was barefoot. So wherever he was in his house, he got up, grabbed the gun, grabbed the ammo, went right out, didn't even put on a pair of sandals, completely barefoot. That's how scared he was. If you weren't that frightened, you would take the millisecond it takes to put on some type of shoe of any kind, even a flip-flop, and he went out there completely barefoot. He didn't even have socks on. That's how afraid he was. All right, this is, the interview goes on. Here we go.
When you see the images online of you and your wife on the patio armed now, after the fact, what do you think?
You know, we were obviously upset. My wife doesn't know anything about guns, but she knows about being scared. And she grabbed a pistol, and I had a rifle. And I was very careful. I didn't point the rifle at anybody. The only thing that stopped the crowd from approaching the house was when I had that rifle.
And, you know, now, this interesting thing about the rifle, someone in the chat room on YouTube Live told me it was an AR-15. And I didn't get a good look at it. I'm not familiar with AR-15s other than, you know, the news accounts. But, you know, an AR-15 is not the most powerful rifle out there. And if you see an AR-15 before it gets all the bling added to it, it looks like a .22, you know, and And what people do with AR-15s is they put all these add-ons on it. And you know what saved that couple wasn't so much having a gun. It was that he had so much bling on it, it looked like an M16 to me. I mean, it looked so threatening with all that bling added to it. You know what I mean? And I think what kept them from moving forward on because you've seen these protesters in some of these towns. Look what they did to Jack Posobiec the other day. There's some video online of a Fox News reporter up in the Chaz. You know, you've seen when they've gone up to the old lady in New York at the Teddy Roosevelt. You know, you've seen what they do. They stayed far back from the couple because his AR-15 looked so threatening because he had all those add-ons on the weapon, which, you know, which is a deterrent. And this is one of the things, you know, where they say, oh, you know, people should have weapons that look like that. It's not an assault. An AR-15 is not an assault weapon, but it looks like one, right? It's like sometimes people will get these kit cars and it'll look like some Ferrari, but it's really like a Volkswagen under the hood. You know what I'm talking about? That's what an AR-15 is like. And the look of that, the wife with that little 380 that looked like a cigarette lighter gun, that's not going to scare anyone. She might as well have been pointing her finger. But the look of that AR-15 was so menacing, they stayed back. It was a deterrent, and it actually stopped things from getting more serious. So again, this is the husband in St. Louis that came out of his home barefoot with the rifle being interviewed in St. Louis.
The images online of you and your wife on the patio armed now, after the fact, what do you think?
You know, we were obviously upset. My wife doesn't know anything about guns, but she knows about being scared. And she grabbed a pistol, and I had a rifle. And I was very careful. I didn't point the rifle at anybody. The only thing that stopped the crowd from approaching the house was when I had that rifle, and I was holding it. It's the only thing that stemmed the tide. I can't blame my wife for being terrified and for doing what she could to protect what she thought was her life. It was you know, a horrible event. And to call these people protesters, I've lived in the city of St. Louis for 32 years. We were, you know, urban pioneers back when we bought our Portland place in 1988. And we have done everything for 32 years to improve the neighborhood place and to keep this historic neighborhood going. And it's very frustrating to see it get targeted. And of course, we've been told by the press and by Expect Us that they wanted to start targeting middle-class neighborhoods and upper-class neighborhoods and bring the you know, their revolution outside of the cities. And we got an email from our trustees on Thursday saying that they were going to do this on Friday. We were very worried about it.
Wow. So there was a threat prior to the event too. So that's just an amazing, amazing story. And God only knows what would have happened in that community if he didn't come out. It's scary. And you know what? It's the wild, wild west. He said he was a homesteader back in 1988. Well, I don't know about being a homesteader in 1988. When I think of homesteaders, I think of John Wayne, you know, and maybe Far and Away. I'll throw in Far and Away with Tom Cruise or something. But that's what, when I'm thinking of homesteaders, I'm thinking about the wagon trains out west and everything. But what you saw there in front of that home with that husband and wife is something that I've only seen in movies. I have never seen someone in their home have to stand their ground and defend themselves, their wife, their life, like that from a mob. That was frightening. And I don't care what they say with these polls. Chris Matthews can sit on Fox News all day on Sunday with his fake polls. Nothing could convince me that the American people watching this, watching what's going on, are not terrified and terrorized by what's happening in the streets of America. Throwing red paint on George Washington, threatening a husband and wife like that. How can Joe Biden be double digits in the polls with that going on? Now I heard today that they're going to put Black Lives Matter on the floor of the NBA courts. Oh yeah, that's great. That's great for business. Let's take our break, all right? If you're on hold, stand by. 18 minutes after 7 o'clock in the morning. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll be back right after this.
Dr. Vitez, when we talk about charisma, hormone replacement pellet therapy brings back a lot of things in people. And one of the things I think it brings back is charisma, because I've met many listeners that are patients of Dr. Vitez that I've met before they were patients of Dr. Vitez, and I notice a big difference. And one thing I notice is a lot of confidence in guys after they start hormone replacement pellet therapy.
I agree with you 100%, Brian.
Yeah,
Get your mojo back. It's really what
it changes your life. It changes the way you view the world. You know how I put it once? This was years and years ago. Looking at the world after having the hormone therapy, and you look at the world, and the world is like a Technicolor, and when you give up the hormone therapy, it's like watching the world in black and white. It's just an amazing difference.
That's a fantastic analogy.
Isn't it?
It is.
It's true. That's a big difference.
It is. As we get older, we both physically and mentally break down, and we tend to get into a very black and white type of existence, a lot of people. Everybody's different. But when you get your hormone levels back, you get that vigor back, you feel good.
Steve Kane Show.
Things are very bright and colorful.
And I experienced this myself.
Yeah, I know. Steve Kane Show.
I'll see a guy, and he's like, and then I'll see
Chris,
him after he has become a patient of yours.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. If you're new here, my name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, the longest running radio show in Florida. And this is the most pro-Donald Trump radio show anywhere. So if you love Trump, make sure you subscribe, click the notification. You'll love the show. If you don't love Trump, subscribe anyway. You're welcome. And we'll do our best to convert you and get you to vote for Trump in November.
What makes not just men, it's what makes people. And a lack of it takes all of those things away from you.
We'll meet with Steve Kane listeners at no charge.
Always.
What is the number they can call to make that appointment?
561-953-5449. 561-953-5490.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWN.
All right, 20 minutes after the hour, you are on the radio. Good morning. Chris, you're on the air. You got to pick up the phone. You walked away from the phone. I hope you didn't walk to the toilet. Okay, good morning.
I remember when the COVID thing first started, there was an outbreak. You reported that one person at a Publix had COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to mention the location.
We've had Walmart, Target, Publix, Home Depot, Lowe's. All these months, these stores are open. We're not getting any reports that there's any outbreak from people shopping in these stores. As soon as they open the small businesses for middle America, now there's a gigantic outbreak.
Well, I don't believe there's a gigantic outbreak in Florida. Okay, what I believe is this, is that we are doing record numbers of testing, and I think everyone should get tested. I mean, we're promoting not just COVID testing, but also the antibody test at any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. And so we're getting an increase in positive results because we're getting tested more, which is a good thing, because if you do test positive, you want to stay away from people until you recover. And you want to know if you have the antibodies too, which means you're immune, which is a good thing to know, and that you've been exposed. That's all good stuff. But if you look at the numbers, look at the number of people that have passed away. In Florida, we've lost, and we're a state of over 20 million. We have a huge population. People don't think Florida is that big. This is a big old state with over 20 million people in it. We have 3,400 deaths from coronavirus. New York has 31,000. We have 3,400. They have 31,000. I think Ron DeSantis knows what he's doing.
To 0.00016 deaths.
Yeah.
Okay?
And by the way, we have and think about this, we have the oldest population in America, and still our numbers are so low, and a huge chunk of that 3,400, sadly, are nursing home related. 40% of the, Janice Dean from Fox News tweeted yesterday that 40% of COVID deaths nationally are nursing home related. 40.
A question for you, Brian, on the test results, and there's been some talk about.
I've not heard anything about that. I've not heard anything about that. No. I've not heard anything about that. That's there's a lot of people get. I think it's good to get tested. I've been tested. I've been tested for coronavirus. I've been tested for the antibodies. And the reason that is, if I tested positive, I would change things up a little bit. I wouldn't come in here and be next to Steve or other people at the radio station. I'd stay at home, and I could I could call in from home. I could connect from home and do the show. My wife's high risk. If I tested positive, I'd go stay at a hotel or stay at my mom's for a couple weeks or so. You know what I mean? Until I got over it, so I don't expose my wife. So there's nothing wrong with getting tested, but there's a narrative going on in this country which I believe is a completely false narrative. And if you, think about what's going on here. They're telling us that the Trump states, right, Florida and Texas, are where they have these huge outbreaks. But New York is paradise? How dare Governor Cuomo say that he's going to put people in quarantine who travel to New York from Florida? After he let his people out, a lot of the cases we have here because New Yorkers fled and came to Florida.
My daughter being one of them, she came down here for 2 months and self-quarantined herself.
Yeah. But there's this red state, blue state, COVID-19 divide narrative that the media are trying to promote. And even though this is a strong Republican state, right? We got a Republican governor, we've got 2 Republican senators, the president's home is here. We've got a lot of communities run by Democrats, and look what they're doing. They're trying to shut everything down. And this is insane, right? Here, look at what they've done. The Democrats and the media. America's birthday has been canceled. 4th of July, right? And what I was hearing earlier this year when the COVID first happened was when the heat of the summer comes and there's humidity, it weights down the virus, and that's a great time. Here we are, heat index over 100 degrees every day in South Florida. The humidity, this is some of the worst heat and humidity that I can remember this early in the summertime. And the mayor of Fort Lauderdale is closing down 4th of July. They're closing down the beaches all over Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. Again, to me, I thought we were waiting for the heat and humidity to clear everything out.
So one other question for you, Brian, and like I said, I don't watch much of the news. I just look on the internet for the news. There's video of that gate being torn down in St. Louis. This mob tearing down the gate. Why isn't that rerun over and over again on TV?
Yeah, because the narrative is that they were peaceful protesters. That's the narrative, that they were peaceful protesters. And when you hear that husband in that interview I played, he was scared for his life, and they were threatening them. You take 2 magazines and click them together, that's a threat to me. Now, I wouldn't have come out of my front door. I would have locked the doors, shut the shades, grabbed my gun, grabbed my ammo, and gotten in the bathtub with the family. You know what I mean? And hunkered down. But do you think, that, like I said when I played the interview in the last segment, he was scared out of his mind. He got his gun, he got extra ammo, and he didn't even put on a pair of flip-flops. He was completely barefoot, not even socks. That tells you how concerned he was that he didn't even put on a pair. Because if you go out for a threat like that, to have no shoes on makes you pretty vulnerable, doesn't it, right? I mean, you know, you have no foot protection. That's how scared he was.
Right, Brian. That scene of him standing in front of his house is something we never imagined would happen in the United States.
Not since 1878. You know, the last time, you know, I'll tell you, the last time something like that happened in America was when blacks were defending their homes from the Klan in the 20s, 30s, and in the 60s and things like that, you know. There was some of that went on. You've heard Condoleezza Rice talk about how her father and his friends protected their homes from the Klan with guns at home like that. But, you know, one thing they like about this video, the media, is that this guy, they're uber rich. I mean, that mansion that they came out of looks like something in the south of France. That looks like the castle that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were living in before they came to America, right? So they like this image. Yeah, they love this. They love the image of the mansion, white, rich narrative and image. But this guy here made a big mistake. He's a Democrat. He's liberal. He's a lawyer. And he's a good communicator. And their narrative is getting thrown out to the truth because he's out there giving interviews like that one. And I think it's very interesting. That interview was with the local news in St. Louis. He didn't go on CNN or MSNBC or Fox. He went to the local news to get his story out. And this guy's a smart guy. Look where he lives, right? You know, personal injury attorney. He knew exactly what he was doing. What's that?
My question would be, do you think people like that have voted Democrat and support the Democratic narrative, do you think this changes their mind?
I think people are terrified. I think people see that video and are terrified. You know, and I'll tell you, they marched the other day in Beverly Hills and they were chanting, "Eat the rich." Over the, you know, they're going after their own. You know, Democrats like this guy are what fund all this stuff. They're going after the liberals in Beverly Hills. They're going, and remember, Ferguson is a suburb of St. Louis where this happened. You know, they're going after their own allies, supporters, and funders. And I think that scares people. When it's in Chicago, when you hear, you know, 47 shot and 12 killed over the weekend, people are like, that's terrible, something should be done. But it's not that way in my neighborhood. So, you know, they're bringing this into peaceful neighborhoods that see no violence. I think that scares the day. People say to themselves, what's stopping them from coming down my street? Right? I mean, I thought that was frightening as hell when I saw that.
You know, there goes the security people think they have living in a gated community. You know what it looks like to me. Again, it's I've only seen things like this in movies, so I got to make movie references. It looked like a lynching party, and some people that were trying to protect someone from being lynched. You know what I mean? The way they were coming down, that was frightening. And you're right. The gate that they tore down, I promise you, was not some little tiny chain link fence gate. This was some big iron fence like you would see in the front of Graceland that opens up to the, you know what I'm talking? And they were able to rip it down off the hinges by, you know, I don't know how. And you're right, there's all kinds of footage of that because all these are millennials and Generation Z. They're filming everything, and the only clip we see is the husband and wife with the AR-15 and the cigarette lighter pistol that the wife came out with. Be enough to alert everyone what's going on. Just that one scene.
In the middle of the day. In the middle of the day. Remember when they marched on Tucker Carlson's house and his wife was home alone hiding in the bathroom? And, you know, and this guy and his wife in St. Louis, there were no police around. You know, and would the police, what would the police response be to that? And if the police responded, how would they, you know, with this mob in the street, what would it have taken for the police if they were called and responded? They get to the gate, it's fall. How would they have gotten to the home where this happened with this crowd of between 200 and 500 on the street between the gate and that home? It would have been, that guy having a very menacing looking weapon, an AR-15 with all that bling that made it look like an M16, stopped everything from advancing from that point forward. If he would have come out and had a little pistol like his wife or an AR-15 without all the bling on it, I don't think they would have backed off. They went nowhere near that couple. They stayed pretty far away, didn't they?
It's pretty frightening, Brian. That's all.
All right, take care, man. Oh my goodness, it's 33. We're over halfway through the show today. I just blinked and the show's over half over. Oh my goodness. All right, listen, we'll take our break. When we get back, there's more to talk about. All right, I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. That's right. We'll take our break and be right back after this.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Do you suffer from foot pain that just won't go away? Do you have balance issues and are you afraid of falling? Are you in need of orthotics? Are you a diabetic and in need of diabetic shoes and custom inserts? These are just a few reasons why you would call the Soul Authority today. Whether it's in the comfort of your own home or coming to the office at one of our 2 convenient locations in Pembroke Pines or Tamarack, the Soul Authority can take care of all of your podiatric needs. If you're a Medicare recipient, call us today at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060. And you can also find us online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Call the Soul Authority today and start taking care of your feet.
This is Steve Kane, and I wanted to share with you some thoughts about why I chose the Gardens of Boca Raton to be my final resting place. I have always been uncomfortable with thoughts of death and dying, but the very first time that I visited the Gardens of Boca Raton, I could feel my apprehensions vanish. Just knowing that I'd be spending eternity with my family in such magnificent surroundings lifted my spirits. The Gardens of Boca Raton is an all-faith, above-ground cemetery with tranquil surroundings, a place where your loved ones can come and visit you time and time again, remembering and celebrating your life. The gardens have caring professionals available to help you in your time of need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pre-need with 0% financing is available and prevents your family from having to deal with these matters at the time of their grief and sorrow. The Gardens of Boca Raton, dedicated to all those who have lived and all those who live today. Let the Gardens take care of your family as they are taking care of my family. Schedule a tour today. Call 877-PLAN-561 or online at thegardens.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. We are live weekday mornings from 6 until 9 a.m. Overnight rebroadcast 7 nights a week, midnight until 6 a.m. And that means Monday through Friday, The Steve Kane Show is on the radio from midnight until 9 o'clock in the morning. We broadcast on the radio. That's right, 9 hours straight. We're on 4 radio stations, by the way, 3 FM and 1 AM station. Again, weekday mornings, you can listen to the program between midnight and 9 a.m., okay? And we broadcast live on AM 1470, 103.9 FM, 95.3 FM, and 96.9 on the FM dial. All right, now I want to, this is something we had so much fun with this many years ago here on the Steve Kane Show. This was our overnight voicemail line, and when we are not on the air, when the show ends at 9, I turn the voicemail on, and you can call and leave us messages. And people call and they ask questions about sponsors and things, and people sometimes are very surprised I call back. and I'll give you the number of our sponsors, and you can certainly call. You can go to SteveKaneShow.com, by the way. All our sponsors are listed there, but people call and leave messages all the time for sponsor numbers and information. I always call people back. And what we had a great run with many years ago was our haters calling in, leaving us messages. I'm going to play 2 messages left by one of our liberal haters out there in just a moment. But if you are listening to this program and you want to get something off your chest and you don't have the guts to call us on the air, call when we're not on the air. And if you're an overnight listener, you call too. Spew your venom on the voicemail. And if it's good, I will play it on the air. Now, with that being said, I don't want to hear calls of, oh, read this article, Brian, or Steve, or read that, or, you know, you got to watch this. No, that's, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes people have issues with me, issues with Steve, issues with the program, issues with the president. And what we used to do with this is 1 or 2 days a week, we would play our voicemails. And then sometimes on holidays, when we run best of programs, we would play whole hours of just our voicemail calls. And it was so much fun, a great segment. And Moses called last night at very strange times. He left many messages. I'm only going to play 2 of them. Let's see, what time did Moses call here again? Let me see here. He called at 2:13 a.m. and left a message. Then he called at 2:15 a.m. 2 minutes later, left another message. And then 2 minutes later at 2:17 in the morning, he called and left his third and final message. I know. I'm only going to play 2 of the 3. Let's see here. Okay, here is the first one. This is Brother Moses at 2:15 in the morning, leaving a message.
Yeah, let's fix this right before I hang up again. Sun God is a white man. The rain God is a black man. I know both of them. None of you all in this world don't know any of them. They're the one that make me the timekeeper. I'm a man who have magical power, experienced magical power.
Oh, this is interesting. So we got a new name for Moses here. He's the timekeeper, and he has some special powers?
God is a white man. The rain God is a black man. I know both of them. None of you all in this world don't know any of them. They're the one that make me the timekeeper. I'm a man who have magical power, experienced magical power.
Wow. He has magical powers, and he's the timekeeper. I wonder what his powers are. What do you think his magical powers are?
Well, don't know any of them. They're the one that make me the timekeeper. I'm a man who have magical power, experienced magical power of time. Know that there's other people in the universe. Black, white, Indian, and Chinese. I know they're all in the universe. You don't know. No one, not even the Pope don't know that. But anyway, you don't like me, and you think I'm not the one who talks about Bolton. Bolton was supposed to set Donald Trump free. Listen to what you're the one that said that. No, look at Bolton. Bolton and Donald Trump. Hey. You read up your history.
Okay, so that's at 2:15. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. This is the next one. Okay, so that was at 2:15 a.m. Brother Moses, he's known as, we're going to call him the timekeeper in the future. He has magical powers. Magical powers. So then 2 minutes later, he calls back at 2:17 in the morning. I was sleeping at 2:17 in the morning. What were you doing at 2:17 in the morning? By the way, you people in the middle of the night, feel free to call, leave your messages. He's calling the 1-888-GO-KANE-1 number. That's K-A-N-E and the number 1, 888-465-2631. When we're not on the air, our voicemail is engaged from 9 a.m. until 6 a.m. the next day. So this is Brother Moses' next call. This was at 2:17 in the morning.
Well, Brian, this one won't probably good for you to play, but anyway.
Oh, this one won't be. Now this is good stuff here. He says it probably won't be good to play. I haven't listened to this call. I listened to the first one. I've not listened to this one. He says if he says it wouldn't be good to play, I'm going to take that as this one's going to be the better of the 2. Let's find out.
Well, Brian, this one won't probably good for you to play. But anyway, I won't be able to call this show again. I've been calling for a very long time, since 1977 when you've been on. Even when your name was the hyena, I didn't give you that name, but I know you that long, call you. And I won't call your show anymore because I know you're a racist. And regardless of your daughter being a black person, it still doesn't make a difference. There's a lot of people out there that I work with, they'd be nice. Now, some of these rednecks I work with, some of them call me Junior Sample because I've been trying to do a lot of bad things to me and I maneuver them. So they call me Junior Sample. So I'm not a bad person. I'm the person that keep time, the one that they call Lord Jesus Christ.
Oh my goodness. He thinks he's Jesus. He just said it. He's the one who keeps time, the one known as Jesus.
So they call me Junior Sample. So I'm not a bad person. I'm the person that keep time, the one that they call Lord Jesus Christ. Don't call me Lord Jesus Christ. I'm a timekeeper. I'm a keeper of time. And you're gonna find out sooner or later that you're gonna grow a tail in your final analysis. You can go to heaven. You can go go close to any of God's angels with that attitude. That character is no good. You got to be fair, honest, and kind to go into God's kingdom, and you don't have that. You're a very bad person, very, very bad person. I'm sorry that you're a white man, because one of the God is white, Son God is white. The black God.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Then he ran out of time. There is a time limit, by the way, on the voicemail. It's about 90 seconds. So you got to be done before 90 seconds is up. Just so you know, he got cut off. That's why he called back the another time, which I'm not going to play because it was the next one I did listen to. Yeah. Well, anyway, listen. If you have something you want to get off your chest, call us when we're not on the air. Leave your messages, and if it's interesting and good, like the timekeeper who thinks he's Jesus. We will play them on the air pod. If they're good. Oh my goodness, that's something else. And again, it's the same number that we use for the show, 1-888-GO-CANE-1. I want to tell everyone about Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca. Champagne Automotive Repair, they're absolutely amazing father and son, Ed and Eddie, Ed Jr., Ed Sr., Champagne Automotive, when it comes to automotive repair, right? How many of you, when you go to an auto repair shop, you just assume you're going to get scammed? That's out of every industry there is, auto repair probably has the worst reputation of them all. And that's why we've not had an auto repair shop advertising on the Steve Kane Show in many, many years, because it's so difficult to find someone that we trust not only to take our vehicles to, but to recommend it to you and the listening audience. And we found what we have been looking for many years in Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca. Champagne Automotive Repair will never do a repair on your vehicle that it does not need. They're honest. Right? And they do everything too, from oil changes all the way up to major engine repairs and transmission work. They do it all. And they do it with integrity, with honesty. You can trust them. Their phone number is 561-245-8101. 561-245-8101. It's where I go for my auto repair, where Steve goes for his, and you should as well. 561-245-8101. Their website is linked right at stevekaneshow.com, as well as their address and phone number is at stevekaneshow.com as well. Their address, 106 Northeast Spanish River Boulevard in Boca, Champagne Automotive Repair. And when you stop in, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Radio Show. We'll be right back. Steve Kane Show. Hey, Dr. Mattel.
George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place, many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take take care of your feet while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best part of all is that Medicare pays for this visit. So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority a call today at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060. Don't let social distancing stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeart.
That's right. And as you may have heard at the beginning of the break, since I left my mic on, who do we have on the line? Dr. Mitch Matez. Dr. Matez, good morning. I'm doing all right. You know, I saw something like this earlier. There's a new poll out that says 30% of Americans believe that Joe Biden has Alzheimer's or some age-related dementia issue. And of course, my first question was only 30%. But, you know, you and I have been, I guess so. And we've been talking a lot about how hormone replacement pellet therapy can help with cognitive issues like we see in Vice President Biden.
It's pretty cool, Brian. You were talking a little bit about magic before, and I hear that. Not that infrequently people will come back and say, oh my God, it's like magic. Because we do very simple, easy things, very simple, easy procedures, and people magically get all of their stuff back, like cognition, like energy, like libido, strength, endurance, muscle mass, sleep patterns, and I could go on.
When you have a patient, male or female, and they come back in after they've started for the very first time hormone replacement pellet therapy with you, what's the number one thing they tell you is different and better about them?
That's going to vary from person to person. A lot of it has to do with, you know, what the deficiencies are going in. But I will tell you, going back to our theme here, everybody, and I mean everybody, notices cognitive improvement over time. It's just a given. The sex-steroid hormones are your cognitive hormones. You age, you lose hormones, you lose your cognition. That's a fact. It's not an opinion. And replacing the hormones replaces the cognition. We don't have confused people. We have very, very sharp, fully cognitive individuals, no matter what their age.
Yeah.
Are replaced.
Now, if someone is suffering from sexual dysfunction, meaning they cannot get an erection, or maybe they can get an erection but they can't maintain it, how would hormone replacement pellet therapy help a guy like that?
Well, there are three components to a human being obtaining an erection. It is circulation, nerves, and hormones. So you have three components there. You can have great circulation and great nerves, but if your hormones have declined, you just physically can't do it. So it is one of the major components of obtaining an erection. And without the hormones, it's just not going to happen. It's one of the reasons, by the way, Brian, you hear a lot of guys say, oh, Viagra Cialis didn't work for me. The reason Viagra or Cialis does not work for a man is because their hormones are low.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Listen, give Dr. Mitch Matez a call. It's a completely free consultation if you mention the Steve Kane Radio Show. His number 561-953-5490, 561-953-5490, and online, hormonetherapy, BocaRaton.com. All right, Dr. Matez, we will talk later in the week. You too, take care. Take care. All right, welcome back, everyone. Oh, boy, this week, I feel like I'm having this out-of-body experience watching what's going on in the news now. It's just insane. And, you know, I was born after the 60s, you know, but I used to always watch these old retrospects on TV showing the 60s and everything, and it seemed so crazy and chaotic, but things seem crazier now. Caught me off guard there. Steve's wearing a Y100 t-shirt. Y100. Oh, my goodness. I used to work at Y100. Well, they didn't pay me. I was free. It was free. They call it an internship. You know. I just took the cards out and left them for the people that were on the radio to play. But it used to be a big station, Y100. It still is a big station. But anyway, so did you hear the interview with the St. Louis? Oh my goodness. You know, there was a happening in the white. You can use either one. I fixed them both up for you, and you got a new pair of headphones that I thought would be easier for you and not so heavy. Well, they're new for us, but I thought they would be lighter on your head. You know, there's a lot of fake stories going on by the media to push their narrative, and they're trying to push a narrative that President Trump is a white supremacist, right? One of the many narratives, and if it's true that he's a white supremacist, he's the most unusual one I've ever heard because he's got a Jewish daughter, Jewish grandchildren, and I believe that white supremacists are not big fans of Jews. So there's a little conflict there, you know, and especially convert. And there's no one closer to President Trump than Jared Kushner, right? You know, so what kind of white supremacist is that? But one of the things that they're resurrecting is they're trying to bring back the Civil War. Did you guys catch the Kelly and McEnany press conference? The McEnany press conferences are spectacular. Television doesn't carry them all the time, and you know, CNN and MSNBC had been whining that we went almost a year without the daily briefings going on. And then McEnany comes in, she has them every day, and they don't want to carry them on television. And the reason they don't carry them on television is because she's so damn good, she cleans their clocks. So the yesterday, they want to promote, one of the narratives they want to promote with white supremacy is that the president is a supporter of the Confederate States of America, the Confederate flag, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the reporters, I don't know which reporter it was, and the reason I don't know which reporter this is that he's wearing a mask and I can't see his face, even though he's social distanced from everyone, okay? He's wearing a mask. I have no idea who he is, but he's a liberal jerk and a White House reporter. Let me see. Where is this? All this talk. Do I even have the audio? I know I have the audio. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, here it is. So this is a White House press reporter yesterday with McEnany asking about the Confederate flag and the president and the Confederate States of America and President Trump's opinions. Listen.
Does President Trump believe that it was a good thing that the South lost the Civil War?
Okay. Okay, now if you couldn't make that out, does the president believe it is a good thing that the South lost the Civil War? So now this is a very interesting question, and something comes up, and the reason I'm playing it in just a minute. But this is what they think. They think the South is filled with a bunch of good old boy Confederate rebs, and they're trying to get the White House, they're trying to get the president to condemn the Confederate States of America, thinking it's going to cost him some Southern votes. That's where this question comes from.
And then two, is he interested in following NASCAR's example and banning the Confederate flag at his own events?
Okay, so will he ban the Confederate flag from his own events, following the example of NASCAR?
Well, your first question is absolutely absurd. He's proud of the United States of America. Second, with regard to our statues, Americans oppose tearing down our statues. There's a Harvard-Harris poll released just last week that shows 60% of respondents said the statues should remain, and 71% said local governments should block groups from physically destroying the statues. So he stands on the side of preserving our history.
The question was actually about the Confederate flag at his rallies. Is he interested in banning the Confederate flag at his rallies?
That would be a question for his campaign, but look, this president's focused on taking action, on fixing problems.
Okay, it goes on. Okay, so this is, now Kellyanne McEnany, she is the best, sharpest White House press spokesperson in the history of White House press spokespeople. Her press conferences are amazing, but she missed a big one here. Okay, so now the media, so I'm going to give you guys a little info that you may, now those of you that have been to Trump rallies may have realized this. So now this is the new narrative. This reporter started it yesterday. I think I was right the first time too. This guy started the narrative yesterday, and there's a narrative beginning this morning to get President Trump to ban Confederate flags from his event. Now, they want him to come out and condemn it. They think it'll cost him Southern rebel voters. Okay. Here's the big secret. The Confederate flag is banned from Trump rallies. Did you know this? You know, and the president's never made a comment about it. Do you know how I know this? Well, the president banned Confederate flags from his rallies. They already are banned. As well as the American flag is banned from Trump rallies. All flags are banned from Trump rallies. You know, in fact, I found this out myself. All flags are banned from Trump rallies. You're not allowed to have a flag in a Trump rally of any kind. When I went to the Trump rally, I wish Kellyanne McEnany knew this, but she doesn't go in through the regular entrance like we do, so she doesn't have this experience. But when I went to the Trump rally Thanksgiving week in Sunrise, I was shocked. I walked up to the entrance to go through the, I was in line to go through security, and there was a trash can that had an American flag in it, a little tiny American flag. It was about, 6 to 8 inches long, 4 or 5 inches wide, and I saw it in a trash can. And it was on a little wooden stick. And I've never seen an American flag in a trash can. I guess it's because I don't go to the DNC where they throw them away in the dumpsters behind the place. And I took it out of the trash can. I couldn't believe. I took the American flag out of the trash can, and I go through the metal detector, and the Secret Service guy told me you can't bring the flag into the rally. And I told the Secret Service guy, I said, I found this flag in the garbage can. And by the way, he was African-American, black Secret Service guy. I said, I found this flag at the top of the trash can. I didn't want to leave it in the trash. I don't want to throw it away. So he said to me, he says, take it off the stick. He said, throw the stick away. He said, fold it up, put it in your pocket, but you can't display it. I said, you can't have the American flag in the president's rally? He says, no flags are allowed. All flags are banned. He said, keep it in your pocket. Oh, I said, okay. And I have it at home. It's on my desk at home. And when I went inside, I saw a woman a little behind me. She had a Trump flag. She took it out of her purse or whatever, and she held up a Trump flag. 2 security guards went up to her and said, put the flag away. You can't have flags out. So all flags, the Confederate flag, Trump flags, the American flag, the Union Jack, the Don't Tread on Me, Gadsden flag, they're all banned from Trump rallies already. But this reporter, he's already banned the Confederate flag, as all flags are banned at Trump rallies. My goodness. These people. They need me to do the press conference just one day. Or at least maybe have McEnany have a little earpiece in, and I'll whisper in her ear some info while the questions are going on. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Denture wearers are messy adhesives ruining the taste of your food. Is it painful for you to eat? Does the
welcome everyone. Make sure you are subscribed.
You're
right?
always worried that your dentures will fall out while you're talking or laughing. Do you have sore spots? You are not alone. These are common problems that can be solved simply with dental implants. This is Steve Kane, and I want to introduce you to Brighton Dental Care, where the Kane family goes for all our dental needs. Brighton Dental Care doesn't want cost to stop you from being able to eat the foods you love again and live in comfort. That's why, for Steve Kane listeners, they're offering implants, get this, for just $3,500. That includes 2 implants plus a lower denture. Now, if you go to a dentist in Boca or in Aventura, they're going to charge you $6,000 for the exact same implants and denture. That's right, $6,000.
I'll give you the number to call the guy out.
Dental Care, just $3,500, and that includes the 2 implants plus your lower denture.
You gotta call.
And live with confidence. Call Brighton Dental Care at 954.
See, I can't do everything.
4633.
Hold on.
954-922.
I think we gotta call the guy. We'll talk about it after.
And online at
why does he need one?
dentalcare.com. Be sure to ask about special discounts for our military veterans.
Over the weekend, one of them was sick of.
This is Brian Craig. I've been telling you about the great
then what do you
deals
shouldn't
and
be here near me.
customer service
You got to
at
get tested.
Friendly Tire on both new tires and Used tires. One of our listeners, Antonio, went to Friendly Tire and called to share with us his experience of buying used tires at Friendly Tire in Margate.
Good morning, you're on the
That's
radio.
really bad, Steve. That's not right. I mean, that's really bad. You should have done it. You got to get.
Everything you said it would be, man. I went up there and got me some used tires, and when I went up there, man, he was very.
I'll give you the number to call over there. But you got to give me a
minute.
minute.
It was going to be, man. I appreciate you for that, man. And,
Let me give you the number.
Mike's a great guy, man.
Well, what's your name?
Antonio.
All right, Antonio. Hey, I've got.
Which one do you want to go
save you and
to?
your family lots of money on tires at Friendly Tire.
Steve.
No doubt, man. Thanks so much, man.
Do what Antonio did. Stop
That's
at
off
Friendly
University.
Tire and find incredible
Right across the one that's right across the
and
street
used
from Moore's
tires.
Court.
Give Friendly Mike a call right now. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. And Mike will give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate.
This is Steve Kane for attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great job for me
Here's the
and my
number.
family when we needed a revocable trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel, and one of the most important things about sponsors is integrity. And you have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach for my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust.
I don't know the person there.
Revised this trust since 1997. And, you know,
There's somebody new there.
years at least. I called Barry's office because I had a question. I let the secretary know. I said, look, I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now, you know, most people would just blow you up, right? You know, almost immediately, within a few minutes, Barry himself called me. I asked my questions and so on, and he answered. He was very patient. I was quite a while with him, and talked about a lot of things, you know, and this and that. But I wanted to say, you know, character, integrity, these are the most important things with sponsors, and all of your sponsors, because I've dealt with a lot of them, they all have that you can trust them and you know you're getting a fair shake.
Do what Ray did. Call attorney Barry Siegel right now. Toll free 1-855-FLA-3782. That's 1-855 toll free FLA-3782. Tell him Steve sent you.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE-1. And now, here's Steve Kane.
All right. We're back. 5 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Welcome back. Third and final hour has begun. Okay, now there's another story out there. Okay, this white supremacist narrative they're trying to start with President Trump. Okay? President Trump did something over the weekend that's helping them promote this narrative. He retweeted this video where the guy said white power. Here's the thing. Ask yourselves this. How many of you have retweeted an article without reading it? How many of you have tweeted a segment from a television interview without watching the full interview? This is something people do all day, every day. I do it, you do it. The president did it, and a guy, said white power. And now, of course, the media are having complete meltdowns over this. Okay? And let me read this article to you here. This is, there's an update on this. This is in the Daily Mail. President Donald Trump's retweet of a video of one of his supporters shouting white power set off a 5-alarm fire in the White House as officials scrambled to get him to delete the post. But White House officials couldn't reach the president for more than 3 hours as he relaxed on his golf course in Sterling, Virginia, and had put his phone down, according to 2 unnamed officials. Okay. I don't buy any of this, okay? The president... Let me ask you. Now, we know the president does use his cell phone, and he's always on the Twitter and everything. There's no doubt about that, okay? No doubt about that. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted about something. I'll tell you guys later. When people play golf, phones are not allowed, right? How many of you guys out there are golfers? And, you know, this thing about phones not being allowed on golf courses is a big thing with a lot of people. People get really militant about it. I think one of the reasons is they don't want to be bothered by their wives, and they don't have their phones around, and they're incommunicado. Their wives don't know where they are. They could be anywhere, okay? But this idea that they could not get a hold of President Trump because he had his phone off when he was at the golf. This isn't like you or me were at the golf course. He's there with his Secret Service detail, his aides, advisors. He travels with help. I mean, how many people travel with the President of the United States, right? And for them to have a narrative out there that he was unreachable, that's just not the case. This isn't just some regular guy at the golf course. White House officials couldn't reach the president for more than 3 hours as he relaxed on his golf course in Sterling, Virginia, and had put his phone down, according to 2 officials. As Trump enjoyed a tranquil day of golf, his Twitter account sparked a social media firestorm where critics slammed the president for promoting a white supremacist message to his 82 million followers. The officials said they couldn't reach the president for over 3 hours, and aides also tried unsuccessfully to reach Deputy Chief of Staff Dan Chiavo to ask him to delete the tweet. Well, they couldn't call the Secret Service? You're telling me that the Commander-in-Chief, that the President of the United States, for 3 hours was not able to be reached during the day by the White House? Are you kidding me? The pressure to remove the tweet cranked up when Republican Senator Tim Scott demanded the president delete it during an interview on CNN, slamming the retweet as indefensible. There's no question. He should not have retweeted it, and he should just take it down, said Senator Scott to Jake Tapper on CNN's State of the Union. The officials claimed that once they were able to reach the president, he agreed to delete the post. On Monday, White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany said that Trump watched the video before retweeting it, but didn't hear the supporters say white power. Of course he didn't. And there is no one who can tell me that anytime they have retweeted a video, they've watched the whole video, or retweeted an article, read the article. Most people, it's just like the newspaper, they see the headline, they retweet it. Okay? Is there anyone out there who would believe that Trump heard the guy say white power and said, oh, let me retweet this? Are you kidding me? The tweet itself was a video of a retirement community in Florida called The Villages. See, this is what happened. There was a big Villages event, protesters supporting Trump. The Villages is huge in Florida. Every politician, in particular the Republicans, every Republican must visit the Villages and kiss their rings. So he saw this pro-Trump rally at the Villages. He didn't watch the video. He just retweeted it. Trump retweeted the video saying, "Thank you to the great people of the Villages. The radical left do-nothing Democrats will fail in the fall. Corrupt Joe is done. See you soon," because he's going to go to the Villages. You know, now, obviously, I wish he would have seen the video and not retweeted it, and perhaps he'll be more careful in the future. But, come on. Come on. You know. Come on. So now that he retweeted that, the narrative about white supremacy and all this stuff is going to amp up. He gave them a little ammo to use against him. I did watch the video. It's not that far into the video, which tells me he didn't watch any of the video, okay? Or he would not have retweeted it. But, you know, Twitter causes so... How many people have had their entire lives destroyed because of Twitter? How many? Right? You hear all the time, this woman at the Trader Joe's over the weekend, right? Even the woman in the park that lost her job and her dog. You know, Twitter is really, it's another one of the poisons on our society, like the 24-hour cable news cycle. You know, they come in here with, you know, people put something on Twitter, they retweet. You know, a lot of people on Twitter have in their profile Likes and retweets do not equal endorsements. A lot of people have this on their profile. Because this is something that started a few years ago. Do you assume when someone likes or retweets something that they agree with it? There are a few good things that come out of Twitter. Don't misunderstand me. But there seem to be a lot of negatives that come out of Twitter. A lot of negatives come out of Twitter. And this is another example of it. It's unfortunate. I wish he wouldn't have retweeted that. I really do. Listen, do you have coronavirus? Do you have COVID-19? You don't know, do you? You don't know. Listen, call any lab test now of Coral Springs. Call any lab test now of Boca and get tested. Any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs, they offer 2 tests involving coronavirus that are very important. 1, you can get tested for coronavirus. Find out if you're positive or negative. You can also get tested for the antibodies. Find out if you have the antibodies. The antibodies mean you've been exposed and you got resistance now. They do both tests over there. Find out if you have antibodies. Find out if you have coronavirus. Find out if your kids, your spouse have coronavirus or the antibodies. Are you an employer? Find out if your employees have coronavirus. Find out if your employees have the antibodies. Any lab test now, and by the way, when you go to any lab test now of Coral Springs and of Boca for this testing, in and out in 15 minutes or less. Boom. In and out. That's it. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. Their number 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, on the east side of 441 State Road 7, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough Boulevard. And their number is 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
90.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
You're stuck in your home
Steve
and the
Kane
dog
Show.
days of summer are coming. It's already happening on the hot days and the late afternoon, early evenings. Your air conditioner is running more and more. It may even run constantly, struggling to keep your home cool and hold the temperature that you have it set on. And in some homes, it can't even keep up, losing the battle. And the temperature in your house climbs, and you're hot, humid, and uncomfortable. And to top it all off, your electric bill is about to double or even triple. Here comes summer. The cure is reflective and/or blown insulation. Stop the heat gain and cut your electric bill up to 35% off. Act now and get the pandemic special, our off-season sale. Act now. Save 50% on reflective and/or blown insulation and cut your electric bill up to 35%. Call Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com at 954-939-1500.
I don't know.
That's 954-939-1500.
No, you can't. No, I can't talk to you right now. Hold on.
Put your house in the shade
You
today.
realize you just told me yesterday you're going to Disneyland despite the fact
Hold
that-
on, Steve. Don't put with the video. Hold on.
FM, 103.9 FM,
Hold
and
on,
AM
hold on.
1470.
Hold on.
WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Brian Craig. I've been telling you about the great deals.
I'll be back in a bit, guys. Hold on.